number. I had messaged him and he called me back. And I was actually in the washroom. I used to remember his number. Yeah. Okay, fine. You can actually love somebody, fair enough. But how can you move on at the drop of a hat? Yeah. I mean, I
Even
don't
I
understand. Maybe
can
I'm.
identify with what Rick has been feeling, because when you do not get what the person you want, then you want to show that person, see, I can move on without you. I'm around. Thank you guys for tuning into my channel. Welcome to Frontline and Chai. Today we'll talk to Digonto. You know Digonto, right? We've been introduced
Hi.
before, and he's from Kolkata, and I'm in Canada right now. And today we will talk to Digonto about Amitabh Bachchan. Yes, the Mr. Big B. So we will talk about how he thought Digonto had lost his job because of an interview that he gave it to him. And he posted this on Tumblr. He mentioned Digonto and posted this on Tumblr. Yes, guys, this is true. And Digonto is going to tell us all about it, all about his tryst with Amitabh Bachchan. And to think that I worked with Digonto, we were sitting on the opposite aisle, and I did not know all this was happening. He was doing a story on Amitabh. He was meeting Amitabh Bachchan, who I'm a great fan of. I mean, I still cannot believe that this had happened right behind me all this while we were working in HT. That is uncanny. So, Digonto, just I'm going to start whatever you
Well,
had this incredible experience with Mr. Bachchan. Please tell us
right,
about it.
right. At the very outset, I would like to express my heartiest gratitude to Mr. Bachchan because, all throughout my stint with one of the largest circulated English ladies in the country. Whenever I approached him for an interview, whenever I requested him for an interview, he was all game. He never let me down, and I would come to that later on. But so far as this episode is concerned, it actually made me national sensation. Honestly speaking, I was getting messages from people all over the country, and somebody, in fact, she was a colleague, and she bumped into me on the roadside, and she said, "Oh my God, you are a celeb now, and I'm really proud of the fact that I got to work with you." But I mean, those were like pleasant, compliments coming my way. But what I really had to go through, that was quite painful. Well, it happened in the year 2008. I had already resigned, and I just wanted my last interview for that organization to be of Mr. Bachchan. So I sent him a message. In fact, his film Last Year was on the verge of release. The last year, which was shot in Kolkata, directed by Rituparna Ghosh, and so I messaged him, and he said, "Fine, send me the questions," because he preferred email, interviews for whatever the reason may be. So, and there were lots of things happening around Mr. Bachchan. Question marks were raised on, his family. His family was kind of dragged into certain controversies. So I wanted that interview to be, hard-hitting one. So I short questions, and I was very direct. I was very sort of frank and candid, and the questions came from the core of my heart. So he gave me the interview. I mean, like, he sent me the answers, and the interview was carried. I remember it was in the feature section. It was not a lead. It was, I think, an anchor. Whatever.
Not really.
So no, it was not a lead for whatever the reason. So what happened was the interview came out, and I remember I was chatting with a couple of friends at the Kolkata Press Club, and I sent him a message saying that the interview has come out. I've resigned, and I wanted this interview to be the last one. So he sent me, he replied immediately. He asked me whether I had resigned or not. I said, yes, I have resigned. Oh, you've resigned. Fine. Okay. And then all hell kind of broke loose, because the next day I saw my name flashed all over his blog. And, and the story was that he thought that I had to resign because he had taken pot shots at the media. And before sending me the answers, he was, I think, in South Africa. Yeah, I think he was in South Africa. He was touring. So before sending me the answers, he consulted, his family and also this music director, Vishal Dadlani. And Vishal, after going
The
through his answers, said that,
Indian Idol guy,
right,
Vishal Dadla.
Vishal Dadlani of Vishal Shekhar fame. So Vishal,
Yes,
after
yeah.
right. Vishal, after going through his answers, categorically told him, "I can bet on this that he's going to lose his job after this." So he thought that I'd lost my job because of that, interview. But
Interview.
that was not the case. That was not the case because I was a notice period, and my colleagues, who were working with me that point of time would definitely second it. So, as I said, I've always had a very special equation with Mr. Bachchan. He's always preferred me.
So,
So,
if I must ask you over here, what was the interview about, and what was the controversy that he was going through at that time?
well, the interview was basically about the film The Last Year, but I also asked him some questions regarding his, what should I say, acrimonious stance towards the media because, he was not having a great relationship with the media at that point of time for various reasons. And I must tell you that uh, 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 I think not this particular interview, but there was one more interview which I did, and it was carried in Kolkata, but it was also carried in Mumbai. And what happened was that the my interview was totally tweaked in Mumbai by the editor, who had an ex to grind with Mr. Bachchan. Probably, I don't want to name him, but whatever. So that interview came out, and in fact, I was so busy that I had no clue that that interview had come out in Mumbai, in the Mumbai edition. All of a sudden, he sent me a message, Mr. Bachchan, and he told me that I didn't expect this kind of a treatment from you. I've always favored you and stuff. Blah. I sent him the interview that we carried. I also sent him the answers. I wrote a mail to him. I said, "Sir, you're actually misunderstanding me because if you know how copies are tweaked, but
Yeah,
if
too
copies are
much. You
tweaked, if
cannot
the
tweak a person's
exactly
whatever he
the copy
says.
was tweaked, if the copy was tweaked immensely, and there was a personal vendetta, I guess. I don't want to get into that, but I was kind of victimized. I was made the scapegoat, and he stopped talking to me for about 6 7 months, and I thought my career was over because
Amitabh
he
Bachchan
was my
stopped talking to him. Okay,
right,
so we are
right.
over there.
So
We are there. We're there.
right. Right. So, I mean, he was my, what should I say? He was my savior on so many occasions. In fact, there were occasions when I was running short of stories. I even called him up for quotes for a particular story, and he never let me down. In fact, I remember Bunty or Bubbly had released that point of time, and Abhishek was sort of going gaga. He was all over the media. His work was being praised, and stardom had sort of kissed his feet. And I wanted uh, I wanted Mr. Bachchan's reaction to Abhishek's, emergence, burst on the scene, honestly speaking. I remember I had messaged him and he called me back. And I looked, that conversation on the blog was kind of all over. And some people even went to that extent of saying that he's bigger than the brand. So it really sort of affected my career to a large extent. But Kaveri, a very senior journalist, a film journalist, he had come down to Kolkata and I met him. And he said, okay, "Of course, I know you. I know you because of Mr. Bachchan's blog." So I was
Wow.
kind of, so I don't want to beat my own drums because these
No,
are all
no,
things of
please
the past.
do, please do. I mean, this is the kind of drum you have to beat.
All my
So,
career.
did you ever ask him about his so-called relationships with the diva Rekha
Not really.
or
In fact,
other such gossips that we keep hearing about?
in fact, I asked her about Rekha once. Indirectly, but he was pretty, what should I say, dignified in his answer.
Evasive.
And obviously, yeah, I didn't because I knew that if I had asked that question, probably things would have ended then and there.
So, what else do you remember interviewing with him? Can you tell us any more anecdotes, any more episodes that you remember? Because,
Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Of course, of course. In fact, when you were shooting for the last year in Kolkata, I was
last
determined to be the
year,
first.
last
Exactly,
year,
I
yeah, yeah.
was I was quite determined to be the first one to interview him, and I
Is
kept
that
on
the
messaging
one
him.
with Rituparna Ghosh directed?
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
I was very emotional, around Mr. Bachchan, honestly speaking. And I remember I was on my way. I was on my way to the office, but in the midway I had to drop my father, and it was at the Ruby, Four Corner,
Mm.
where I
Mm.
got a message from him saying that I should contact his valet. I think Mr. Jain, yeah. and he would fix up the interview, and he did, and I was the first one to get the slot. I remember I was speaking to him, and at the moment I entered, I touched his feet. He said, "You're embarrassing me," and I spoke to him at
He
length.
doesn't
And
like anybody touching his feet, I think.
I know, but I must tell you, Mr. Bachchan is very implicit at times when it comes to expressing his emotions. But I could actually make out that he had developed a fondness for me. And I remember while I was, because those days, we had those, antique pieces. Oh, those are antique pieces now, mobiles now.
Yeah, those mobile days.
Right. So I was never very tech savvy. In fact, still I'm not. You know it very well. So what I did was, as I was interviewing him, somebody was calling me, trying to find out whether I was talking to him or not. And I remember I was constant. I had to sort of pause the, recording, and I remember while he was talking, his sound was not very audible. So I was at his feet, literally. He said, "Why don't you just sit properly?" I said, "I can't help it because, uh, you know, I am in front of Mr. Bachchan." Well,
I know.
Kaveri, honestly speaking, we all have grown up watching his films,
Yeah.
and and his humility. Honestly speaking, his humility is, what should I say, indomitable, if
So
I may
you mean
use
to
that
say
word.
his humility is not put on? His humility is
Absolutely.
real.
Absolutely not. He's very humble, and he's always the first one to enter the set. Whenever I tried to sort of converse in Bengali, he said, "I'm not very comfortable." But we all know that he's very fluent in Bengali. I remember that experience. I remember when I took that picture, which is now part of the folklore. I mean,
Mm.
I still have that picture. I hold him in very high esteem. Well, I can just walk down my funeral pyre, boasting about the fact that yes, Mr. Bachchan used to call me. But those are again things of the past. I'm just uh, probably lost in the crowd for whatever the reason may be. But I really hope and pray that at least before I breathe my last, I can interview him one more time, probably for the last time. Because see, I'll tell you something. Mr. Bachchan is a gold mine of stories, and you have to talk to him not as a journalist. You have to talk to him as just the other person. I
I
did.
know. I know it
I
sounds
did.
it becomes such a dream. Like you've been in a dream.
Right.
It seems like did I ever do that? It so
Right.
happens. But his you
Right.
said in your podcast also with your sister-in-law that he's
Mhm.
not happy in his family life. And also I think I read somewhere that he doesn't have any friends really to call his own. So about his personal life, do you think he'll ever speak out about his personal life, about his
No, I
family
don't
life?
think so. I don't think so. A, he will never write his autobiography. B, he will never direct a film. And C, he will never come out in the open about his personal life. See, whether he's not happy or not, it's difficult to say. But, there's no smoke without fire. And there is
Definitely.
obviously a lot of truth to the fact that there was something or the other, what should I say, brewing up between Mr. Bachchan and Rekhaji. In fact, Rekhaji had admitted in one of her interviews, which
So,
was
fascinated as you were, did you in the process fall in love with him?
Absolutely. Duh, that's a dumb question. I have yet to come across a single man, woman, child who can't help but fall completely, passionately, insanely, desperately, especially hopelessly in love with him. So why should I be singled out?
And
it
even
was basically
Bachchan,
farewell show.
Mr. Bachchan had relationships with Parveen Babi and others. But
Well, these are all stories that floated around. In fact, see, there are two sides to it. There is one section which is anti Mr. Bachchan, and
hmm,
these people would actually go the whole hog to cast a slur of him, cast a slur on him. And there is another section which is totally pro Bachchan. And but so far as Mr. Bachchan is concerned, he's beyond all this, I guess, Kavit. Those are quite
but I am
natural.
stunned to see how much he writes every day. His blog on Tumblr,
He tweets on his own. He tweets on
tweets on
his
his
own.
own also, and he doesn't touch anything about his personal life. It's just about
No.
his fans and his work, and that's about it. Go like politics. He doesn't even touch the Bollywood politics that is surrounding him, that I feel that he doesn't touch all that. I mean, he's 80, what? How much? 81 or
Right.
82?
He's going to be he's 42 born. Huh? From that
He's
will
going to
have
be
that will
80,
be
81 this
yeah,
year,
he's
probably.
already his 80th birthday last year.
80th
So
birthday
see,
was
I'll tell
last
you
year.
something. Can take criticism, honestly speaking. But yes, there was a time when I was pretty upset with even Nasiruddin Shah. I mean, Nasiruddin Shah in one interview had said that Sholay was not a great film. Of course, Amitabh Bachchan is a great actor, but he would not be remembered like Dilip Kumar. Well, honestly speaking, I might be again, sort of killed after what I'm going to say. Dilip Kumar definitely was a great actor, but so far as versatility goes, Mr. Bachchan stands out. He's what, 80, 81?
Mm.
Still, he's one of the busiest actors around.
And
This
he's
is
still so
actually a,
humble. And he's still so
absolutely,
humble.
this is
And
actually a test.
and you are confirming that the humility is real, not like
Right.
he
No, no,
doesn't
no, no.
pretend to be humble. He's
No, he's
real.
not pretentious. And, the fact that he's still a force to reckon with when all his contemporaries are either dead or, lost in oblivion, it is just a testament to his stardom and his hunger for work. Scripts are conceived of keeping him in mind,
Even now, he's
right?
still
That's what
working,
I'm
he's still
saying,
running, like he
right?
runs into the
And his
KBC set. So, Mr. Bachchan is never going to come into politics, right? He'd been there, he's burnt his fingers, and he's back. He's not going to ever step into politics. He has made that very clear in the last discussion. I heard a discussion with Frankly Speaking. So, why do you think that? You've been very close to Mr. Bachchan. Why do you think he doesn't want to get into politics or even comment on the so called Bollywood politics that is going around him?
see, there are two things which Amitabh Bachchan is always going to avoid. One is politics, and the other is direction. So far as politics is concerned, though I have never had a candid conversation with him on this, but from whatever I could make out, he was pretty hurt, pushed into the by his friend
Amar
Rajiv
Singh,
Gandhi.
Rajiv
No,
Gandhi.
Rajiv Gandhi,
Okay.
and he became an MP, and he got a resounding mandate at in Allahabad. He got the better of H.N. Bahuguna. So just
Mhm.
imagine, I mean, he was a
Yeah.
political stalwart, but Mr. Bachchan sort of made him eat humble pie. But after that, all those Bofors controversies and it all that really bothered him. He conceals his political allegiance. So far as Mr. Bachchan is concerned, we all know that he was very close to the Gandhi family. So obviously there was, there has been a Congress connection. But he makes it pretty clear that it's not about political parties, it's about the chair. So if Narendra Modi invites him to Gujarat, he will go there. If Mamata Banerjee invites him to KIFF, he comes over here. So his stature is beyond all this, honestly speaking. He enjoys, a status which is never going to be sort of emulated. It's very tough to actually achieve what he has achieved. Even
So,
he's burnt.
shall we wrap up this conversation by wanting to know if he's going to ever feature in a Prime show or a Netflix series, Prime show
I
or
have no
something?
idea. There's no news around that, but probably, I mean, going by Mr. Bachchan's, as I said, proclivity towards experimentation, he could actually feature. He could actually feature in the days to come.
That will be really exciting to watch
He
out
could.
for.
He could. He
And
could.
we are
He could.
proud to have Mr. Bachchan in our still working, is a shining gem of an example in Bollywood. I mean, still he's beating all the newcomers. I'm definite. And he's still a, since, remember his Coolie incident, like when he was almost in his deathbed, and the entire country prayed for him. And from that to his multiple link ups with his actresses, and there is no smoke without fire, like you had said. And I feel that Mr. Bachchan should at least clarify some of the cloud and admit some of the things that he thinks is right. And in one interview he should, it should be a complete clarification of all that people talk about him. That should be there, that should come up, and I think he should come up. So do you think you can do that kind of an interview with him?
I would love to, but knowing Mr. Bachchan and knowing his inclination towards maintaining his privacy, I wonder whether he's going to give such an interview.
So Mr. Bachchan has actually maintained his dignified silence in a lot
Right.
of
He
things,
maintains
in
his
spite of being at the receiving end of the media, of the
He's been at the receiving
people.
end. He's been at
He's
the receiving
always
end.
been at the receiving end. So, in spite of the fact, despite the fact that I want to be as critical as possible about Mr. Bachchan, about his multiple affairs, about his relationship with Parveen Babi, and the gossips that go around along with it, which I still think that he is really above all of this, and he's really above all these petty
Absolutely.
things. And we must just leave him, let him be, let him just do his
Yeah,
work,
yeah. That's what I'm
because
saying.
his
Because
work
these are,
really speaks for himself.
what should I say? I mean, let's have a film which will have a mix of everything. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I would love to see Mr. Bachchan and Rekha, in a
Yeah,
film, because and I am sure the best person to direct this film would be Aditya Chopra. In fact, there were stories at one point of time that
absolutely,
Aditya Chopra,
Manik Jor. Let's
Manik Jor,
let's
right?
let's give them the idea
In
that
fact, he was
this.
asked this question once whether he would be happy to share screen space with Rekha again. He said, "If the script is fine, I'm game." He's that
What's
thoroughbred.
stopping them? Because that's going to be a gold mine. It's going to be a gold mine.
I may be able to give you a breaking news.
Yeah,
Let's see.
please.
Let's see. Let's see. Let me just tap my sources. Let me just get an authentic news. If I ever get that news, obviously I'll be the first one. You'll be the
Please
first
go
one with
ahead,
whom I'll be
Digonto.
sharing.
Don't lose your
And
touch with Bollywood and keep giving us breaking news, because
I hope so.
eventually, at the end of the day, Bollywood matters. And
Right.
I'm not Bollywood, Hindi film industry is the biggest
I think
film
showbiz
industry.
matters. Showbiz matters.
Showbiz
When I
matters.
launched,
And most importantly, we love to see Amitabh and Rekha together once again. And they should be together to dispel all the myths surrounding them, even if they were in love at one point, which I don't think it's absolutely incorrigible to think about it. They could have been in love in one time. And like I
that's
believe
why I
you,
say you can be in love.
yeah, you can be in
There's no
love
harm.
when
It's not a
two
cardinal
people.
sin.
It's not a cardinal sin, or it's so he should not also think to be a cardinal sin. Neither should Rekha. In fact, Rekha has openly admitted that she loves him in Rendezvous with Simi
That's what we
Garewal.
discussed. That's what
Yeah,
we
so
discussed.
there's no harm in admitting that he loved Rekha at one point, and I don't think Mr. Jaya Bachchan has already been hurt enough in her life, and I don't think she's going to find it anymore. She's going to be happy with the truth probably coming out finally. Like, okay, it's okay to love somebody else. Also, it's okay.
Did Rekha really love Mr. Bachchan? Rekha has had multiple affairs here. I mean, I don't understand. Maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned.
No, actually,
Maybe
you
my
know what,
ideas are a bit
Diganto,
obsolete.
being a woman, I can identify with what Rekha has been feeling, because when you do not get what the person you want, then you want to show that person, see, I can move on without you.
But then
That happens.
then Kaveri, you are actually using or rather exploiting the new person in your life. If you really
It's
want to show somebody,
not a
see,
conscious decision. It's not a conscious decision. It's something you want to do. You want to move on, but obviously your soul, we are not always in touch with what our soul wants, right? We want to do things to prove something to the others. That also happens.
I
It's a
don't know.
part of humanity.
I don't know.
Human emotions are multi-layered. So I feel Rekha, what she did was trying to move on, but in the process she realized she couldn't, and she didn't even feel an ounce of feeling for that guy. What's his name? Who died? Mm,
Mukesh Agarwal.
Mukesh Agarwal. I don't think she felt an ounce of feeling for Mukesh Agarwal the way she
I don't know.
felt for
I don't
Amitabh
know. I
Bachchan.
mean, I really don't know, but I
She
don't know.
just
Whether
wanted to move on to show him that I can move on and I'm happy in my life.
well, anyway, I mean, let's not.
As
get
a woman,
distracted,
I
but
can
yes.
understand Rekha. I can
Right.
understand her, and I can understand the kind of the tsunami of emotions that she feels for Amitabh. But I generally feel this triangle has always been a triangle, and I feel that because of society, if Amitabh has been with his wife and and now they don't have a relationship, I think that is more of if he had, then it would have been better if he had married Rekha and accepted the whole thing. And Dharmender did. Dharmender had two marriages. Dharmender did not divorce his first wife, but he married Hema,
No, he
and
wanted to divorce his first wife. He
he
wanted to
wanted
divorce
to,
his first
right?
wife,
But
but
yeah,
Hemaji
whatever
sort of put
reasons,
her foot down and said, "No, you're not going to divorce."
yeah. So if Amitabh had kind of not left Jaya and moved on and maintained two families, we wouldn't have respected him any less. It would have been a much more sorted matter in Amitabh's life.
I
I
don't
think he
know.
would have.
I don't know,
I
Kaveri.
feel
I
that
never
way.
thought on those lines, but I mean, see, I mean, obviously, I mean, these are all things of the past, and it's very difficult to actually make out
Past
what the person.
cannot be forgotten. Past will always haunt you till the last day of your life.
If he ever seriously loved Rekhaji, and obviously he couldn't sort of, I mean, get into a relationship or you can marry her because of his marital status and whatever. That's really painful for that person, isn't it? And
That's
if
what I'm
we
saying.
keep on, he's very reserved. He's very reticent at times.
Yeah.
He's
So
very
maybe,
reticent,
like if
and
he had come to terms with his past, and if he breaks open the past and opens his shell, he will be a happy person. And even after he's gone, his soul is going to be a happier person. You cannot move on in life. So he has to have
I
a
think
closure about this.
true love never has a pragmatic end. That's what I
Yeah.
think. So
That's why
let's
that's
really
why they say souls move on to the next life,
right,
and
right. True love never has a
they
pragmatic
find each
end.
other in
But
next life and all
right,
stuff.
you just got, I don't know, but you got to live it anyway.
Now finish up the podcast, and I hope the viewers enjoyed this podcast with Digonto, and I hope Mr. Bachchan is watching this, and if Rekha is watching this, I will be really, really happy. I wish all of you a very, very happy life, and we do wish to see Mr. Bachchan and Rekha in coming together in a film or a television series, something like that, and something which is going to be really a bombshell in the industry. Thank you,
Right.
Digonto, for being here with me, with us in the podcast, and for giving us so much information, inside story of Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. Really, I hope you hook up an information with him again, and if you get something new, please share with us. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye bye.
You're welcome.